Shalom and welcome to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. This is Meditation and Mindfulness with Rabbi Adam Kligfeld.
So those who have been doing some of these meditations with us throughout the Omer are now aware that we've passed Shavuot, so we're no longer in the Omer, or if we are, we're in the 52nd day of the Omer, and we're no longer going to be meditating on that. And so sometimes these meditations are based on the Jewish calendar, sometimes they're based on the Parsha, sometimes they're just based on something that's happening in the world or something disconnected from the world. I want to extract one word really from this week's Parsha and then meditate on that in whatever direction our souls take us. And the word is actually the name of the Parsha, Naso, this great three-letter Hebrew root, Nun, Sin, Aleph, which is one of the most pluripotent of all Hebrew roots. It means so many different things. To lift, to carry, to turn towards, like as in Yisa Adonai Panav Elecha, God will turn God's face to you. And the simplest thing it means in this week's Parsha is to count, right? So this wonderful biblical notion that to count is connected to lifting up. It can never be spoken about too much, particularly because counting is usually in our society thought of as a reduction in something's value. Like if you're counting it, it's a thing. In biblical discourse and in biblical etymology, to count means to raise, to elevate, to make something sacred. And there's a beautiful Rashi commentary on last week's Parsha, but on the same idea, that why does God keep counting the Jewish people, the Israelites? Why are there so many censuses in the Torah? God is, according to Rashi, taking account of all those that God loves. Right? When your children are not with you, you kind of count them up in your mind. Where are they? How are they? And what are they doing? Right? That's a counting that's an elevating, as opposed to a counting that's reducing. So our minds are going to go in different places. What I'm going to do is lead us on a meditation that's going to be fewer words than usual, because I want our minds to do most of the work. And as always, you can choose to let your mind follow in the direction that we're going in, or let the words actually just be a jumping off point for whatever substance or absence your mind needs right now. Sometimes we meditate on substance to focus our ideas on something, and sometimes it's actually just to create blank space, to create a nothingness, which our minds sometimes need, given how overwhelmed we all are all the time. So with that in mind, if you have not yet, I invite you to close your eyes. Start settling into yourself. Kind of hear your mind tell you where you are right now and what you are doing, so that it is not merely an accident, but it is intentional. As you're listening to my voice, you can hear your voice saying to yourself, it is I, it's Wednesday, I am sitting in this space or in this room, and I'm dedicating these minutes to the endless possibilities of the mind. Almost see yourself doing what you're doing with a third eye, so that it's unmistakable, so that the moment is not just passing you by, but it might be an anchoring moment, such that when you look back upon today, when we get to tonight, even without thinking about it, this will be one of the things that you focus on. This moment claimed for self. This moment of reprieve and retreat and revitalization. It's okay to aim to enjoy this. Meditation and mindfulness in some ways is beyond purpose, beyond telos. We don't do it necessarily to get something. It loses its power when it's overly attached to a need. And enjoy these moments. Enjoy yourself enjoying them. Relish this little cave we create for ourselves and for one another. Make sure you're breathing fully. Make sure you're breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. Sometimes we count our breaths in a meditation. Sometimes we just make sure that the breathing is active, a part of our process, of our conscious process. You can do a quick check of your body to make sure you're sitting in a position that represents alertness, that has a good chance of bringing you to poised rest. Feet flat on the ground. 90-degree angles between the lower parts of your leg and your thighs. Another 90-degree turn at your waist. Your shoulders low in their sockets. Your chin unhinged from the jaw. Your forehead unfurrowed. Your cheeks and your eyes supple and soft. Your spine straight and dignified. And your extremities almost aware of there being the farthest spot that the blood and the oxygen has to travel. You might even feel, as you focus on them, a tingle in the tips of your fingers, an awakeness at the edge of your toes, parts of your body that get ignored most of the day. You're ferrying oxygen to them. They're helping you excrete the carbon dioxide you don't need. Every square millimeter on this elaborate body is needed and explored and part of your homeostasis. Naso, Nun, Sin, Aleph. Naso. See the word in your mind's eye, whether you picture it in Hebrew letters or in English letters, N-A-S-O. Naso. Lift, raise, elevate, carry, count. Turn, pay attention to, include. Follow your mind's own labyrinth as images pop up in response to Naso as count, Naso as turn to. Aso as raise up. What people or faces or ideas or images are awakened by that association. An image will come to your mind. Just look at it with a certain meta curiosity, wondering how it got there, and then release it and allow the next one to come in, like the next candy in a Pez dispenser. And then look at that one and taste it and release it as your mind dances on this synergy, this Venn diagram, to raise, to include, to carry, to turn to count. And as we wind down this moment of self-care and a luxury which ought not be a luxury, which is to focus on self, just spend a few more seconds wondering how the word and the images that came to mind can animate or inform some part of the rest of your day, can be imported into the non-meditative moments that we still want to be mindful. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. I'll share my screen and we'll say the closing prayer together. I'm sorry that we've been a little bit over today. I got lost in my own meditation, which was lovely, but I went past the time. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. May we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. May we and all beings have happiness and the causes of happiness. May we all be free of suffering and the causes of suffering. May we all experience true happiness that has no taint of suffering. And may we live in great equanimity, free from burdening attachment to loved ones and contempt for others, but rather with compassion for all. I say to you all shalom and namaste. Look forward to seeing you soon.
You have been listening to another in our series of podcasts from Temple Beth Am, a dynamic center for conservative Judaism in Los Angeles. If you enjoy these podcasts, we invite you to write a review on the Apple Podcast site or wherever you get your podcasts. For more information about Temple Beth Am Los Angeles, go to tbala.org.